In today's video, we're going to be looking at the XAU Master EA. So this one is rapidly climbing pretty high up on the MQL5 marketplace as it's both pretty affordable and looks to be a real strategy. So what's interesting about it is that the sales page indicates that this guy knows what he's talking about. And sometimes, like when you read a sales page, it's just like ChatGPT jargon and there's nothing real there. Whereas sometimes you can look at it and see some terminology which actually indicates that there might be a real strategy behind it. So here he's claiming that this is a gold-specific EA and it combines 10 independent trading systems. And that actually makes sometimes sense in an EA, depending on kind of if you are taking a portfolio approach, you can do it occasionally in one bot, whereas I generally prefer to do it across bots just because it helps you modify it and be a bit more precise and have a bit more control over the systems, but this can be a very valid approach. What he's saying is that there's a few different types of systems in it. So like mean reversion, momentum, price action based, and that kind of helps to smooth the broader equity curve. And that makes a lot of sense because generally speaking, when you're running a portfolio of strategies, either in one bot or across many, you want to have a few different styles of trading. Because like for instance, if you have only breakout systems, you might do very poorly if you enter a very choppy period because when price goes to breakout, it can simply reverse and you can get stopped out. Whereas if you only have mean reversion systems, particularly on gold, which tends to be more of a volatile breakout style asset, you can really hurt yourself too, as you might simply be shorting when it keeps trying to go higher and higher and higher. So it's good that he's combining them here. In terms of the actual strategy here too, he's mentioning certain types of kind of triggers as to when he would enter. So for instance, for mean reversion, it says it enters position when price reaches extreme levels and when price returns towards average levels. So that's most likely some sort of oscillator. Makes sense, right? You know when something's overbought or oversold, etc., etc. But you do have to be a bit careful to not overfit if you're using a ton of indicators. Here he's saying momentum systems, so he's looking for trend changes and momentum shifts, and that would indicate that he's looking for most likely some sort of trend following strategy such as a moving average crossover or perhaps a break above a certain level. And then he's also saying that one of the bots and one of the systems behind it is based on M15 candlestick pattern recognition. So all of these can be real systems. Most likely some of them are based on oscillators, some of them are based on like a classic trend following model like a moving average crossover, and then some of them are going to be based on candlestick patterns. And he put a bunch of them together to effectively make something which is a bit smoother. The one risk here is depending how he built it, he could very well have ran 10 kajillion permutations of different strategies and picked the best one, which you have to be mindful of when running this kind of system because they can be pretty susceptible to overfitting. But overall, looks pretty solid. There's also a built-in drawdown filter. So yeah, so far it's looking pretty good. The equity curve looks good, nice and smooth, but not like too crazy. The returns are reasonable. The drawdowns look reasonable. There's no signal. That's the only kind of big caveat here. So I'd want to ask him about that. He does have a different signal listed for a different bot called the connector. So maybe there is something to it, but this appears to be more of a currency bot, not gold. So you would have to pretty much see how this thing has been performing, but frankly, because it's so cheap, you might be willing to just test it on your own account, not in a live account that is, but in more of a demo account, just to get an idea of how it works, what these strategies are like, to be able to make a purchase or to make a decision to use it live, because there's not a huge amount of risk at $119 in cost. So I actually took the liberty of running a quick back test here, and as we can see, it is a nice, like, smooth equity curve, but not too smooth. So this was a 1-year back test with every tick based on real ticks on the Vantage broker, and we can indeed see that it turned $10,000 into around $22,000 with a 4.5% drawdown. So now here, if we go through the inputs tab, there are quite a few different strategies as mentioned. You are able to use some prop firm features like a max drawdown. There's also the ability to adjust the trailing stop loss and the take profit for each system specifically, and this is potentially a bit dangerous, right? Like for instance, system 8 has a stop loss of 2,941 pips. Like that's a pretty specific number, right? Whereas here, like the trailing stop is 2,302 pips, and for each strategy is a little bit different. That could be a sign of a little bit too much over optimization. Like when you run optimization, you should, generally speaking, optimize in big steps. So like try 100 pips, 200 pips, 300 pips, 400 pips, 500 pips, and try 5 options, and then pick the best one using like robust tests like walk forward and or in sample, out of sample. If you're picking 2,941 as your stop loss, he could very well have ran 10,000 ones and picked the best one. So yes, it's looking good, but you would have to be mindful that there might be some over optimization going on. I'm not seeing any indicators, so perhaps he is indeed doing everything based on price action. And if that's the case, that would actually be a really, really good sign, because it shows that it's much more likely to be robust. So let's run ourselves a quick visual back test here, just so we can see a graph and we can see some of the, oh, here we go. Oh, interesting, okay. He's actually checking the filling modes which are available from the broker. This is really important because different brokers have different filling modes, and that can create significant confusion if you have lots of clients. So here he is entering different positions. So far I'm not seeing any indicators. They might be based on like some sort of key level. Okay, so that's actually looking pretty good. It's not the fastest bot in the world, and that's because it's just running so many different strategies. But from what I can see here, yeah, it's mostly based on using different trailing stop losses to enter it. Position closed. His code is really clean, frankly. I have a feeling that he may have used some AI to help him here, just because like a lot of these kind of additional error and like robustness tests and robustness checks might be due to that. But so far it looks like a real system. It's entering market, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it's not really placing pending orders, it's just entering via market buys. The lot size is consistent, so it is doing what he says it's doing. The main thing is, I do believe per his suggestions that it's, or per his sales page, is largely running off of candlesticks, and if that's the case and there really is no indicators behind it, that would probably be quite a bit more robust. So what I have a feeling he did is he probably took a few candlestick patterns, ran a bunch of different optimizations on it, and then picked stop losses and trailing stop levels which work based on that. Using trailing stop losses on gold is actually a really good approach due to the volatility. You can often make good money with it. So there's a lot of good things here. It doesn't seem to be too indicator heavy, using some mix of mean reversion and breakout style systems. There's also the fact that he's using more candlestick patterns, and it does look like he knows what he's talking about. The downside is there is an overfitting risk just because he's using so many different minute parameters, and that does increase the risk. So really my conclusion with this one is we need to see a signal. We need to see if it actually performs live. Just because when there's so much overfitting risk, you can't really assess what exactly the bot's doing. You can't assess like how the bot was developed. Then you have to be a bit more careful. So overall, looks like it could be promising, but we just need a bit more data to make a full conclusion. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.